And Donald Trump has said that both Russian President Vladimir Putin and Ukrainian President Zelensky are very stubborn. This as Trump attempts to broker a ceasefire deal between Moscow and Ukraine. During the press conference on Friday, the U.S. president said that he has been surprised and disappointed by the Russian bombing in Ukraine.
And you guys, you and your team deal with a very stubborn Vladimir Putin.
Yeah.
Do you
and
Zelensky.
Yeah.
But do you look at this
very
conflict?
Stubborn Zelensky too.
However, Trump refrained from calling Putin a bad guy when one of the reporters at the presser asked the U.S. president whether he sees Putin as a good or a bad guy. Trump sidestepped from a direct answer by saying that he would like to see the war come to an end as over 5,000 people are being killed a week in this ongoing conflict.
But do you look at this
very
conflict
Zelensky too.
any differently now? Like, do you look at this and see Putin as the good guy or the bad guy?
So I've known him very well, and I went through a lot of things with him because Russia was, you know, the Russia hoax. Rockets being shot into cities like Kiev during a negotiation that I felt was maybe very close to ending. We were going to solve a problem, and then all of a sudden rockets got shot into a couple of cities and people died. I saw things that I was surprised at. So, and I don't like being surprised. So I'm very disappointed in that way. With that being said, I'd like to see it end.
Meanwhile, Russia has told the United Nations that it's ready for a ceasefire with Ukraine. Speaking at the UN Security Council, Russia's UN ambassador said that Moscow is prepared for a ceasefire, provided the West stops supplying arms to Kyiv. The ambassador also proposed a second round of talks in the coming week.
In principle, we're prepared to consider the possibility of establishing a ceasefire to pave the way for a lasting settlement of the root causes of the conflict. To achieve this ceasefire, we need, at very least, for Western states to stop supplying arms to Kyiv, for Ukraine to stop its mobilization.
On the other hand, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Russia of withholding a promise memorandum that is considered vital for peace talks.
Right now, neither us in Ukraine nor Turkey, as the host country, have any info about Russia's so-called memorandum. For some reason, the Russians are keeping this document under wraps. It's a really weird move. They don't seem to get the format at all.
Zelensky also held talks with U.S. Senators Lindsey Graham and Richard Blumenthal, representing the Republican and Democratic parties. According to the Ukrainian presidential office, the talks focused predominantly on a U.S. legislative initiative that would strengthen sanctions against Russia. Furthermore, the U.S. Senate is set to move ahead with a bill that would impose sanctions on Russia and countries buying Russian oil and other goods. Senator Lindsey Graham slammed Russian President Putin for trying to drag out the peace process. Graham also added that the second round of talks in Turkey would be a little more than a Russian charade. For latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.